Hello, boys and girls. I'm so excited to be sharing a craft with you this week that I made, and I hope that you guys can make it at home too. It's going to be based on our Bible story that we learned and heard from Dr. Nimps this morning, and we are going to be doing it, and it's going to go with each of the lessons that we learn about Joseph. So in the next coming weeks, you'll have a few different other crafts that you'll do, but this one is going to be a reminder of each week in one craft, okay? So here's what we're going to be making. It's going to be a paper plate, little Bible storyteller to remind us of each of the Bible stories that we learned about Joseph. So I'm going to show you the materials that you need, and hopefully you have all of these around your house. The first thing you'll need is 2 paper plates. One you can draw a giant X on, and make sure that it's pretty straight, but if it's not, that's okay too. But you'll need 2 of those, one with an X, one without. And then you'll need a twist tie, because you really need a paper fastener for this, but I didn't have that at my house. So I have a twist tie, and I will show you how to use that later. And then you'll need some markers, a pencil, and a pair of scissors. So now you can pause the video and go get all of those materials and come back, and I will show you how to make your craft. All right, ready? Go.
All right, this is I'll Do My Best. I'll praise you, Lord, forever. I'll praise you, Lord, forever. I'll do my best, I'll do my best, oh, I'll do my best for you, oh, oh, oh. I'll do my best, I'll do my best, oh, I'll do my best for you. I'll serve you, Lord, forever. I'll serve you, Lord, forever. I'll do my best, I'll do my best, oh, I'll do my best for you, oh, oh, oh. I'll do my best, I'll do my best, oh, I'll do my best for you. I'll love you, Lord, forever. I'll love you, Lord, forever. I'll do my best, I'll do my best, oh, I'll do my best for you, oh, oh, oh. I'll do my best, I'll do my best, oh, I'll do my best for you.
Welcome back, boys and girls. I hope that you have all of the supplies you need to do our craft now. All right, so the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to take your 2 paper plates, and you're going to take a pencil and you're going to poke a hole through them so that you have a hole there, okay? So it might be kind of tough. You might need a parent's help, but you're going to poke a hole through that, okay? The next thing you're going to do, and I already had prepared this, but you guys can do this as well, is to make your big X on here. And it actually might be a little bit easier for you to go from the inside where you just poked your hole all the way to the outside. So you have 4 little sections, all right? So now what you're going to do is take something that you can write with. I have a small fine tip Sharpie that I'm going to use. And each section is going to have one of the 4 stories that you're going to learn about Joseph in it. So the first one is what we learned last week, and that was about Joseph and his brothers. How many brothers did Joseph have? He had 12 brothers. He was one of 13 children, and his father was Jacob. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to write week 1, do a 1, and then you'll do, right, Joseph and his brothers. And you're going to write, so I have Joseph and his brothers written on there. And that comes from Genesis. Genesis. That's the first book of the Bible. Chapter 37. We learn about Joseph and his brothers. And our Bible point, or like take-home point that we would have learned from that story, was jealousy jails us, but God can free us. In the story you learned how Joseph he was Jacob's favorite son, and Jacob had given him a really, really pretty, colorful coat of many colors, and he was the favorite child, and his brothers were very, very jealous of him. And so jealousy jails us, but God can free us, and you can write that on there as well. There you go, just like that. And I want you to leave a little bit of space in between there so that you can draw a picture of what happened and how you imagine it looked that Joseph was with his brothers and they were really jealous, okay? So I want you guys to be creative and draw the picture. All right, our next one that we're gonna do, which was today's story, and that was week 2, Joseph, a prisoner in Egypt. That was our story today. So we're gonna do a 2, and then we'll do Joseph, a prisoner in Egypt. And that comes from Genesis chapter 39. You can read it in the Bible and hear this story in Genesis chapter 39. All right, and today's point that we want to learn from Joseph being in Egypt is that we must be faithful to God even if it is hard to do. We learned that in our story about Joseph today, that there were some hard things that he had to do in being obedient to God, and so we should learn that lesson as well. We must be faithful to God even if it is hard to do. Okay, see, there we go. We must be faithful to God, even if it is hard to do. Okay, so our next 2 stories are ones that we actually haven't learned yet, but you will be learning in the next couple of weeks of Sunday school videos, okay? So for week 3 of learning about Joseph, you can write a 3 on your paper plate. And the story is Joseph, a ruler in Egypt. And you'll have to come back and watch in the next couple of weeks to hear that story. So what we learn from Joseph in the story about being a ruler in Egypt is that God is more powerful than the bad things that happen to us. So you'll learn about some of the bad things that happened to Joseph, and you'll hear in the story of him being a ruler in Egypt that God is more powerful than the bad things that happen to us. And you can go write that on your paper plate now, okay? I forgot to tell you that our week 3 Bible story can be found in Genesis chapter 41. And now I will tell you about our week 4 story. That is about Joseph's brothers in Egypt. And I already wrote it on here for you. So you can write Joseph's brothers in Egypt. And that comes from the Bible in Genesis chapters 42 through 45. It's a very good story. I can't wait for you guys to hear it in the next coming weeks. And what we learn in that story about Joseph's brothers coming to Egypt, you'll hear all about it. But what we learn and take from that story is that God can make good from what seems bad. That's a great message. God can make good from what seems bad. And you can write that on your paper plate as a reminder for you when right now there's kind of a lot of bad things going on in the world. But we know, because we're followers of Jesus, that God can make good from what seems bad. That's great news, guys. All right, so write on your plate, God can make good from what seems bad now.
God is so good.
All right.
God
is so good. God is so good. God is so good. He's so good to me. He cares for me. He cares for me. He cares for me. He's so good to me. He loves me so. He loves me so. He loves me so. He's so good to me. God is so good. God is so good. God is so good. He's so good to me.
All right, so here is my written part of my paper plate that is all finished, okay? Now you guys can write and draw what you imagine the story to look like. So here I have in the first week, Joseph and his brothers, and they're really jealous. And I bet you guys are a lot better artists than I am too, in Joseph in prison in Egypt. I know you guys can do a lot better job than I did. So I want you guys in the little space there on your plates, or even on all over, or in each section, to draw a picture of what you think it looked like in the Bible. And since you haven't heard the stories of week 3 and 4 yet, you can even save it for then and draw your pictures of what you learned about in those stories. So that's what I want you to do next. And then once you are done drawing your pictures, you're going to take your marker that you used to mark this with, and you're going to draw one side out and one side up so that you can cut on those lines like this. And we're gonna have it so that there's one portion that you can always see on your other paper plate that has the Bible story on it. So we'll cut our paper plate, you just want one section. And don't quite cut all the way to the hole that you made to start out with, because if you do that, then it won't work out quite right. All right. So before I got to the hole, I stopped and cut a little bit, a little angle there. So now that you have your 2 paper plates, what you're gonna do is you're going to take, remember that twisty tie that I told you about? So you're gonna take that and you're going to bend it over your finger and twist a few times. Hopefully it won't pinch you. You're gonna twist a few times like that. And you're gonna take it off of your finger and pinch it so that it can go through the hole of your paper plate. You might need some help with this. All right, so you want to put one and then your other paper plate. Let's see. Having a little bit of a hard time with this. Okay, so now you have part on this side and part on this side. And once it's on the front side of the paper plate, the side you eat off of, you're going to take it, open up that hole, and squish it down so that it doesn't come back through. See, I can pull on it and it's not gonna come back through. And then these parts, you're gonna push to the side so that it doesn't go through on that side either. And now, you can see that you can go to any Bible story of the weeks that we learned and read about that story to help you remember what happened in Joseph's life and the different Bible points and messages that we learned from Joseph's story. All right, I hope you did a great job. You're now done with your craft, and I hope that you had a lot of fun, and I hope this helps you learn. You can even take it and quiz your parents about what happens and what we can learn from Joseph or your siblings. All right, you did a great job, guys. I can't wait to see it. If you'd like, you can post a picture of your craft that you made and learn what you learned about Joseph on the Our Shepherd Facebook page. Tag us on Facebook in it so that we can see your craft. All right, see you guys. I hope you have a great week. Thanks for joining me this week.